Ooh, well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is having a blessed Thursday today so far. I woke up early this morning. Well, I got an alert early this morning about Yahya Sinwar. Looks like they finally got him. Now, when I got the photo on Telegram from one of the channels that I subscribe to on Telegram, it was early in the morning and they had the picture of him, his corpse, dead at the scene where he was, I guess, in the tunnel. They had posted it on Telegram hours before it was officially confirmed. And so I was thinking maybe I shouldn't post that because I put it on my Facebook and I was like, maybe I shouldn't post that because it hasn't been confirmed yet. This might be some AI type of stuff or whatever, but now, probably about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, they officially confirmed that yes, he is in fact deceased. I'm sorry, eliminated, as they say. He was in fact eliminated. Looked like they got him yesterday, I think. Let's see, what does USA Today say? When did they kill him? It had to been like early this morning or late last night sometime because yeah, they posted his photo up there and it was way before it was confirmed that it was officially him because they had to send off, I guess, for some DNA test results or whatever to confirm. No, fingerprints. They fingerprinted him, they said. But they said, judging from the way his teeth looked, they knew that was him because he has a jacked up grill. But yeah, they said, yep. Israel says it killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Some Middle East watchers are comparing the significance of Osama bin Laden being killed. I said that. I said he is the most wanted person. As much as Osama bin, I said I was going to put a $5 million bounty on him, but or $1 million bounty at least on him, dead or alive. But I thought they was going to get him in the tunnels. Looked like they did. They got him. Looked like he had a bullet in his head from the pictures that I had earlier today. Looked like they shot him. So, yep, it's official. Now, this is not even, I said we was going to see something, but this is not even the attack on Iran. This is still Hezbollah. This is not Iran. Israel has still yet to attack Iran. So anyway, yeah, he's dead. He was 61. He's the mastermind behind October 7th, the Hamas attack on Israel. And they consider this a significant achievement. Him and Nasrallah were significant kills. So, yeah, Biden can say he got his man. So he got his. So Yahya Sinwar is Biden's man. Soleimani was Trump's man, and Bin Laden and Gaddafi was Obama's man. So he can leave the White House now, knowing that he led our military helping Israel to take down Yahya Sinwar. So that's a good way to go out. So yeah. So now they're saying that his brother is going to be his replacement, Sinwar's replacement, Mohammed Sinwar. Y'all notice his last name is Sinwar, Sin War, Sinwar. That's his last name. Ain't that ironic? But yeah. So if his brother's not dead yet, his days are numbered. So, well, all of our days are numbered, but if his brother's not dead yet, he's been named as his successor. And so now he's on borrowed time at this point because it's only a matter of time before they get him too. Because what did Netanyahu say? We gonna kill the successors of their successors. So we ain't seen nothing yet. They ain't even hit Iran yet. They're gonna hit Iran. And they still over there destroying Syria and Gaza. So yeah, this stuff is really heating up. It's getting intense. And then Ukraine was saying something about they have nukes, but I'm not. There might be some big talk like from Zelensky, like Putin be doing. So he ain't got the nukes yet, so we can't really confirm nothing with him at this point. But I know that but they said the United States is going to send Ukraine another $425 million. They're getting a package together for him. Again, they're going to send him $425 more million. So anyway, with other news, yeah, that was a big kill today, but we ain't seen nothing yet. And they also killed. Israel also struck a town in Lebanon, and they killed a mayor, a Lebanese mayor in one of the cities in Lebanon yesterday or the day before yesterday. So they're really Israel is not joking around. They are not fooling around with these folks. So what else we got here? So we talked about Ukraine. We ain't even worried about that. Oh, it looked like North Korea and South Korea are on the verge of war, but I'm not going to post anything on that because they still kind of, they blew up their bridge or whatever, or the road that connects North Korea and South Korea, but we ain't going to deal with that until it just really escalates and they start some serious warfare. But what's going on in more serious news? The Archdiocese of Los Angeles has settled a historic lawsuit, a huge lawsuit, the biggest one that they've settled, with 1,300 plaintiffs. This is the Archdiocese out of LA. They settled this case for 1,300 plaintiffs for $888 million. That's nearly $1 billion. This is just one archdiocese. They got other cases running wild all over in America. And Lord knows how many they got in other countries. But this one is nearly $1 billion. And they just settled it. They said this is the largest lawsuit that they have settled so far. And you got to think, y'all got to keep in mind, they've been settling lawsuits now for years, since like the 90s, when that story first broke in, I think it was the New York Times, with the whole child molestation and pedophilia within the Catholic Church. That's been going on for years and years and years, and they've been settling cases left and right. This mess around, they keep on, they're gonna bankrupt the Catholic Church. But no, they got a lot of members. They got like billions of members, so it might not happen. But yeah, they just settled that this week. What else? There's a sad case that I wanted that happened that I wanted to kind of discuss in detail, because that case happened a year ago to this very day, October 17th, 2023. This case happened where a disabled man was beaten to death by a group of teenagers. And so they had a sentencing hearing for one of the juveniles involved, because the kids' ages were ranged between 12 and 14 years old. And this one defendant who's just been sentenced, she was either sentenced Monday or she was sentenced sometime last week. No, she had to be sentenced, what's today, Wednesday? She was sentenced on Monday. And it says that last week, I'm going to read it to y'all. Last week, a 15-year-old testified in Washington, D.C. court that she and her friends skipped school on October 7th, 2023. That was last year. And today's the 17th. That was exactly a year ago to this day. They went downtown to Silver Spring skating rink, gathered at the house of a friend, dressed in hooded sweatshirts, sneakers, and pink bonnets, and decided to go for a walk. So on this walk, they encountered Mr. Reginald Reggie Brown. And they said that, they had went out on this walk. The girl testified, because she testified against her friends. She turned against her friends to receive a lighter sentence. She got a plea deal. She snatched out because they were all charged with second-degree murder. And she snatched out and testified against her friends, even though she was the oldest. She was 14 at the time, and she's 15 now at this hearing that just happened this week. And so she said that they had went on this walk. They were bored because they wanted somebody to beat up. They were looking for somebody to beat up. They went out looking for trouble. Now you at the skating rink, you bored. Why don't you just go skating? Y'all had it in y'all heart to go out there and just attack somebody because y'all didn't have nothing else better to do. So unfortunately, this man, 64-year-old Reginald Reggie Brown, a disabled 110-pound man who was out for a late night walk that he routinely takes to cope with the strain of his cancer and lupus treatments. His family said that he had debilitating lupus and cancer, and he was undergoing treatments for these conditions. And he only weighed 110 pounds. And so the girls said they approached a stranger who was already beating Mr. Brown and asked if they could jump in, if they can join in on beating this sickly, elderly, disabled man. And so they did. They jumped in to the fight. And the bloody attack, I'm just reading, I'm trying to, talk and then read too. It says the bloody attack was captured on cell phone and surveillance video. It elicited a public outcry for the vicious, brutal, merciless attack and for what it seems to signal about the state of young people. The officials said that the victims and the perpetrators seem to get younger every year. As I told y'all, this group, their ages range between 12 years old and 14 years old. The 12-year-old, they said, was kicking and beating the man and filmed it with her phone. But there was also surveillance around the neighborhood that caught this on video. So I can imagine how traumatizing that is for his family. They said his mother's still living. She's 90, and she has to live through this and know that this is how her son died. He was already sick with cancer and lupus, and going through a lot of health problems. And he's lived to get 64 years old, only to be beaten by a group of delinquents, juvenile delinquents. So the girl was in court, and she testified that she met these friends hanging out, at a rec center, and I guess they were just a wild group of juvenile delinquents. And so all of them has been arrested. All of them are in juvenile detention. And they all face a maximum, get this, they face a maximum sentence of secure detention until the age of 21. So for them, the whole group, they weren't tried as adults. The family wanted them tried as adults, but the court didn't try them as adults. So they all are going to get no more than, the youngest one was 12. She's probably 13 now. She might get 8 years because she's the youngest if they lock her up till she's 21. But they probably not going to even give her 8 years. They probably give her about 3 or 4 years because this girl, she testified, turned state's evidence against the other one. She got 3 years. So I forgot which one of the girls. I think they said it was another 14-year-old girl that delivered the final blow that killed him when she kicked him in the head, stomped his head in the ground. But let me stick to the article and read it. I'm trying to wing it and improvise, and I'm not reading it right. So follow me. Okay, so the girl in court says she had gotten to know some of the teens while hanging out at a recreation center. The two on trial this week face a maximum sentence of secure detention until the age of 21 when they will be released. All 5 have been in secured custody with the city's Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services since their arrest. The girl who testified Tuesday was sentenced last week to 3 years of secure detention. She apologized to Brown's family, saying she went along with the other girls because she was following behind her 13-year-old sister. Okay, so this is a 12-year-old girl. But the oldest one had testified too. So this is the second of the trials for this week. So it was her, this 12-year-old, and then the 14-year-old who is now 15 testified too in her sentencing this week. So in juvenile cases in D.C., they're tried before a judge, not a jury. And of course, their identities are not revealed because they weren't tried as adults. They're tried as juveniles. So none of their family or them, their identities are not revealed to the public. So during the trial, graphic video played in court showing the girls, ages 12 to 15 at the time, kicking Brown, stomping his head into the pavement, pulling his pants down around his ankles, removing his belt, and beating him with it. Then the video shows them appearing to celebrate their actions afterwards. So, why did you beat him up? The prosecutor asked. We were bored, the girl replied. She described Brown as old and small. Brown also had lupus. He also had a metal plate in his head, surgically inserted in his head as a result of a previous fall. He had 2 fingers remaining on each hand as a result of his illnesses. So this man was very frail and defenseless. The teen said Mr. Brown had broken loose of his original attacker. Remember the man who was fighting him, beating him up, and the girls chased him down. A 14-year-old climbed a fence and then jumped down on Brown because they said when he broke loose from the man that was fighting him, he tried to climb a chain link fence, and they chased him down and got him off the fence. And so the other girls jumped in. So it says the 14-year-old climbed a fence and then jumped on Brown, pushing him to the ground. The other girls jumped in and they all beat him. The girl also said her younger sister, who was 12 at the time, pulled Mr. Brown's pants down, removed his belt, and began hitting him with it, yelling, "Belt to ass." Oh. Ooh, imagine you, his family members, and you in that court listening to this testimony and watching this video. This is so traumatizing, especially for the mama. The mother is 90 years old, and she had to sit through this. Okay, back to the article. At one point, the prosecutors then pulled graphic still photos from the video that show the 14-year-old girl on trial kicking Brown in the head while he lay in a pool of blood on the sidewalk. Prosecutors said they gave the first 15-year-old a plea deal because she only kicked Brown in the torso. An autopsy revealed Mr. Brown died from blunt force trauma to his head. The video showed that the teen stopped kicking Brown and stepped back as her friends and younger sister continued to kick and beat him. He stopped talking and began moaning slowly, she recalled. In Instagram messages to one another, several of the teens called Mr. Brown's death an accident and feared that they were going to jail. So they only expressed remorse when they thought that, he was dead and that they were going to go to jail. The teen on Tuesday told the prosecutor that as she and her friends were running from the alley while Brown lay dying, she thought to herself, "He's dead." "I felt bad," she said. "I had too many emotions." Reggie Brown, 64, was filmed running from 5 girls down an alley before they yanked him from a chain-link fence as he attempted to get away. They stomped his head on the ground until they beat him to death. So is this evil, is this youthful ignorance, or both? It's these video games, these violent video games, these violent lyrics in this music, these movies, this media, the stuff on the media. They uploading fights on the internet. They fight in the McDonald's and in the Burger King and in the mall and in the Walmart and stuff, and then they upload it on social media. It's just like these kids are being influenced by all this stuff. And then ain't no telling what they live, how their lives are at home. Because they said one of these girls had previously had a robbery conviction. And I think this girl was 12 or 13 years old. But let me go ahead and finish reading this. I get sidetracked. Because there's a lot of little small facts in this case. Because I was dealing with a lot of issues at the time. But I thank God. Okay, so it says they stomped on his head on the ground until he was dead. And I used to be wild, dealing with a lot of issues at the time when I was that age. Thank God I never seriously hurt anybody or nothing like that, because at this age that I am now, 50 years old, I don't know if I would be able to live with myself knowing that I have taken another life in such a cruel, brutal, vicious, violent way that these girls did. So, okay, so where was I at? This is an elderly disabled person. It's so heartbreaking because these kids are obviously disturbed. But Brown's sister, brother, nieces, and nephews submitted more than 20 letters to the judge asking to sentence the 50-year-old girl to more than 3 years. They argued that she had had a previous robbery charge in Montgomery County, Maryland, because this happened in D.C. around the time of the attack and should be incarcerated beyond her 18th birthday. Philip Skillman, the teen's attorney, pled for leniency. He said she will have to live with this for the rest of her life. She does not have a cold heart. She made an egregious, horrific mistake, but she quickly demonstrated wisdom in agreeing to cooperate with authorities and shed light on what occurred. This one turned and testified on her friends and only got 3 years. But like I said, none of the defendants are going to be incarcerated past the age of 21. So they're still going to have their young lives to live. But I posted a story a week ago about a group of kids around the same age, 12, 13, 14 years old, that beat an elderly man. I think he was in his 70s or 80s over in the UK, and he was just walking his dog, and unprovoked, they beat him to death, just walking his dog. His neighbor said he didn't bother nobody. But Proverbs 22 and 6 says, train up a child in a way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. But that's not always true, because these kids may have good parents. We can't blame the parents for this. Like I said, it's a whole lot of external factors that may have contributed to this. These kids are exposed to so much hatred and violence in this world. Like I said, over the internet, social media, the fights and stuff, and the police. They may live in a neighborhood where it's just violent gang activity and things like that. They said one of the girls had already had a previous robbery conviction. And then they said one of the 12-year-olds, somebody came into her apartment and shot her in the leg. They don't know if it was one of Mr. Brown's relatives or if it was some other street stuff she had got into, and had some funk on the streets. And somebody came in and shot this 12-year-old girl in the leg in her apartment. They didn't ever say who the suspect was because they said he was disguised in a mask when he did it. So no telling what these kids, was involved in.